What's going on, guys? This is the Edge DFS. We are talking Showdown. Saturday afternoon football. Depends on where you're at. Rams versus the Packers. My name is Tyson Smith. I'm joined by Elliot Hernandez. You ready for some playoffs, bro?
Playoffs? Yeah, actually, I'm just going to leave it to you to do the sound effects because I fucking suck at that. But yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm actually looking forward to this game. The Rams defense is pretty awesome, and I just, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold up against Aaron Rodgers. So it's kind of a battle of two really good teams. Like, it's a good matchup on that side of the ball. The other side, I'm not sure. It's going to be too interesting.
Dude, I don't think the Rams have a fucking shot. I don't think they do. That's just my opinion. I mean, you're talking about one of the best quarterbacks ever. I don't give a shit about how good their defense is. The Rams just can't score. We'll talk about injuries here in a minute. Goff's coming off of a surgery. He did okay. He came in and he got the win, a playoff win, but
playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
We are going to talk about playoffs. He got the win, but I think that's more of a product of the defense crushing and the ineptitude of the Seahawks at this point of the season. I don't think you can give him as much credit for that, especially considering, look, the guy came in and won the game. He just coming off of surgery. Like I said, I just don't think it's enough time for him to sling the ball around like he's going to have to against the Packers. Unless you think that the Rams defense can hold, Aaron Rodgers to 2 or 3 touchdowns, if the Packers score over 21 points, in my opinion, I think they can win the game. That's just, you know what I mean?
I think they win the game easily is what you mean, right?
Yeah, I do. I don't see any reason to try
to Rams aren't going to score more than 20 points, dude. I can't see it. I
don't think so. Look, I don't like the Rams at all in this game. I'm willing to embrace 4-2s, even some 5-1s. I want to get all of that Aaron Jones. I want to get all of that Devontae Adams. I'm willing to fade Goff in a good amount of lineups. Now his price is lower, so that's a good thing. We can actually fit him into a decent amount of lineups. I'm assuming his ownership is going to be coming in under 40% total. So if that's the case, I'm willing to embrace Goff because everyone is scared of him just like I am. I just don't know where to go when it comes to the offense here. So let's look at the totals here. So the Rams going into Green Bay, it's going to be cold as shit. We're not looking at – I don't think there's any snow. As of now, the weather looks pretty good, but it's cold. It's going to be around freezing. So
we're actually the Midwest is going through like a fucking series of blizzards right now. So it might be like frozen still Sunday.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow. No, actually, yeah, this shit's tomorrow. You know what? I'm gonna just pull up the weather.
I looked up the most recent weather and it's going to be 30 degrees or something. But I think the biggest weather concerns are going to be in Buffalo.
Okay.
For Sunday. But it's something to keep an eye on. I don't see any. There's no potential snow or blizzard or anything like that. Light winds, no precipitation, so it's not bad.
The fuck is a white wind? Oh, light wind.
Yeah, okay. White wind. Yeah, some fucking.
I've been watching too much Game of Thrones. The winds of winter, the White Walkers. It's all the same fucking thing.
So look, the fact that it's gonna be cold as balls, I don't think look, this is the NFL. These guys have played in cold their whole lives mostly, but Goff with a messed up hand or thumb, right? He's got a fucked up thumb. Is that what it was? The surgery on his thumb, something like that. Yeah. It's not going to help being out in the cold. Green Bay's used to this shit. I give Green Bay a big advantage for the weather. It's not a huge deal, but I think you have to give a little bit of boost to the run game as well. Look, Green Bay's the number 1 seed. They're minus 312, 75% win odds or win probability. Implied total of 26, and they're minus 6.5 favorites. Now, this over-under is at 45.5. That's pretty damn low for the NFL this season and lately. But I think that's just because the Rams defense is good and the Rams offense not so good. So what jumps out to you here besides and also the ownership total is swaying heavily towards Green Bay. And I can't blame anybody for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on this. I really just don't know what the Rams are going to be able to do to stay in this game unless we're talking about another Cam Akers type career performance, which it's possible Green Bay does have some holes in its run defense, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, they were clearly having chemistry issues on the offensive side of the ball. It wasn't just the Rams defense dominating them. Not to say they didn't dominate them, but I just don't know if they're going to have that same success against Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers has just been too efficient. I mean, we'll look at his season stats too, most likely here, get a summary of it. I think he's got like 4 interceptions. So
yeah, he's going to win the MVP. He's going to win the MVP.
Right.
I mean, Josh Allen could, but I think Aaron Rodgers is your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Pat. I think it should be Pat Mahomes, but I get it. Back-to-back MVPs is kind of rare in the NFL unless you fucking win. Tom Brady. Did he do that? Anyway, so I digress.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this one, man. It's going to be interesting.
All right, let's look at injuries here. So Jared Goff is not on the injury report. I think that's more of a formality. We know the guy's hurt. There's no question that he's going to play no matter what this week. But his the strength in that hand to be able to sling the ball like the Rams like to do, I just don't know how that's going to work out in this game. It is what it is. They activated Blake Bortles. I don't think we're going to see Blake Bortles. There's nothing really to talk about here, although Blake Bortles does have more playoff wins in the past few years than some of these elite quarterbacks, which is really interesting. I saw that stat the other day. But look, Goff, I think we should be talking about him being injured here, even though he's not on the report. Is worthy of a fade, considering we just don't know how well he's going to do in this game. Cooper Kupp is questionable with knee. He got hurt last week. This scares me, man. You got a wide receiver who's got a fucked up knee, a guy who's really, he's these little quick routes in and out. This is what this guy eats. He gets 10 receptions, 15 targets in these kind of games, especially with Goff a little bit injured. Tossing that ball down in these short routes to Cooper Kupp is what he's going to need. And if Kupp is not at 100%, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. We got Darrell Henderson, who's out. We know that. Wolford, he did as well as he could. A heroic effort to just kind of step in. He beat the Cardinals. He looked good. He came in this game, started out okay, and then he got fucked up. So what jumps out to you with Cooper Kupp, man? If he starts, are you going to be interested in him, considering Goff's, sort of status?
I like Cooper Kupp. I mean, we'll have to look at the pricing again, but if he's anywhere near what he was it last week? Yeah, I think it was last showdown. He was priced just absurdly low. I get what's going on at the quarterback position, but I just feel like he can outscore that kind of a price tag. So I think if we're looking at like 11, 12,000, and we'll get into that a little bit more here, right? I like to come into this with a little bit of a fresh mind so that I'm not biased right out the gate. But if that gives me, if he's valuable from a cost perspective, I do like him because he obviously has the ability to go off.
What's your guess on his pricing?
What?
What's your guess on Cooper Kupp's pricing if you just had to guess?
I mean, I would say, what was he, like 7,800 last week? So they probably put him at like 8,400.
He's at 8,000.
Yeah. I mean, look, at 8,000, like it's just not. I mean, God damn it! I should have prepared better for my captain. He's only $1,400 more than my captain, essentially. So, look, I mean, I don't like Cooper Kupp in general, but at that price tag, like, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Well, if you guys have watched any of our past, we've done a shitload of Rams showdowns this year. We typically set the
warriors of the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. So we've done so many of these games. I feel like we know this team like the back of our hand at this point. We tend to lean more towards Robert Woods typically because Kupp is always higher owned. He's always more expensive. Now it's a little bit different. Woods is coming in at about $600 more than Kupp, and it's because Kupp is potentially questionable. So I get it, and he hasn't necessarily been lighting it on fire the past few weeks. That's more of a byproduct probably of the Rams offense and less about him. But it's something we'll get into when it comes to our breakdown here. So anything else to add, or do you want to just get right into this breakdown?
One thing. I mean, with Darrell Henderson being out, we just can't lose sight of Cam Akers. I know he's never a favorite play, but he's seriously on an upward trend. All right, I'm good.
And Tyler Urban is out. That's not a huge deal, but we have to consider in this particular game We just have to talk about. Jamal
He's
Williams,
too cheap.
Well, look, but here's another thing too. Look, Jamal Williams is always one of our favorite guys, right? I think right now we have to talk about potentially a couple dart throws with AJ Dillon. It's a cold ass game. It's a fucking physical defense. You got a grown ass man. If you see AJ Dillon is a man. You saw him come out in that one game without Jamal Williams and absolutely crush. So you have to think about at AJ Dillon at $600. Can he get a couple random, goal line opportunities? I think he can. I think it's something to talk about. Jamal Williams is going to have more snaps, but we've got to talk about potentially the only other option on this team is AJ Dillon, and his body just makes sense for this kind of game. Cold playoffs, slow it down, go against this defense. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's get into the breakdown here. Break it down. All right. So let's talk about quarterback salaries. Aaron Rodgers is 11.2K. Way too low. We've seen fucking Cam Newton at 13.2K this year. And I know it all depends on the individual slate and which other players are available. You can't put Aaron Rodgers at 13K and Devontae Adams at 11 and Aaron Jones at 11. I get it. But at 11K, 11.2K for Aaron Rodgers, there's absolutely no reason why this guy shouldn't be in every single one of your lineups, and potentially put him at captain for smaller field tournaments and for cash single entry. I think he's a great option there, and that's not a hot take or anything. I'm just saying that his salary at 11.2K still allows for you to get a decent amount of value in the flex and not just be completely screwed with punting at 2 or 3 spots. Jared Goff at 9,400. This is an interesting price. I think it makes it appealing. DraftKings did a good job. If he was at 9,800 or closer to 10K, I would probably just completely uncheck him. I know it's risky, but I don't like paying up that much for a guy who can't really throw the ball. So Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, what are your thoughts on these guys? Goff, are you willing to fade him?
Yeah, Goff, I'm willing to fade. Aaron Rodgers should probably be in every lineup. The only reason I think it's okay to think about fading him is if you just think this game is going to get out of hand really quickly and it's going to be on the back of the running backs. But other than that, I really don't see how you can fade him at 11.2. But Jared Goff, just not a huge fan of. He had 10.6 fantasy points last week, and he did not look good throwing. He just did not look good.
Yeah.
And, you don't heal your throwing hand in a week. So I don't have much interest in Jared Goff tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think if he gets you 20 fantasy points, like we always say, he's probably going to be in the optimal unless this game hits the over by a lot. And if you have to think, if it does hit the over by a lot, Goff is going to benefit from that as well. So I think you consider putting Goff and Rodgers in the same lineups, whether it be, Rodgers at captain and Goff in the flex. But if you're doing 20 lineups, I'm willing to put half of those lineups without Goff, I would say, or even 12. Keep Goff under 40% owned or 30% owned, and I'll be happy with that. We all know the guy can go off. We know he can sling the ball. I just don't think it's going to happen this week. So let's move over to running back here for Green Bay. We got Aaron Jones at 10.4K. He's priced up a little bit. Typically, we're used to seeing him, between 9.4 and 10.4. So this is actually a relatively consistent price for him. This is one of these guys, 3+ touchdown upside every single game. And one of him and Devontae Adams are the kind of guys that if you don't have them in your lineups at all, whether it be flex or captain, you just won't cash in certain weeks. So you got to consider, stacking Rodgers, Jones, Devontae Adams as a core. You can make your lineups interesting by fading one or the other when it comes to Adams or Jones. I just don't want to do that for a team that I think is going to absolutely knock the socks out of the other team. And you got to think that Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams is going to be highly involved in that. Jamal Williams at 2,400. We love Jamal Williams. I just don't know. I don't know how much he's going to be involved. He's projected for 8 fantasy points ish at 2,400. It's a good value. Don't get me wrong. And I think we should consider potentially maybe not getting both of them this time around, possibly. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Jones, Jamal Williams in the same lineup? And you got to prioritize Jones in almost every one of your lineups, don't you?
Yeah, I love Aaron Jones. I want to get him, Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers in as many lineups as I possibly can.
Yep.
But I don't hate Jamal Williams either. At 2,400, he's not a terrible he's not a terrible dart throw in this, right? He's not getting the fantasy production, but you add a touchdown into any one of these weeks that he's had, and at 2,400, he's probably going to be in the optimal. Now, again, ownership should probably be close to 10 to 15% for him, so you don't need to get crazy to get him into a couple of lineups. But I like stacking both running backs. And again, to your point earlier, I think A.J. Dillon at $600 is very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You stack him in with Aaron Jones, and first, I mean, a punt at $600 isn't terrible. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky and Jamal Williams will take a personal day or whatever Kyrie did. And, you know, A.J. Dillon will just fly under the radar at 600. But again, I think this is a potential of a running game just to deal with the weather.
Yeah.
And because there's not much that the LA offense is going to be able to do to kind of keep up with this if it does get out of hand. So I don't mind any of the running backs. I want to get as many as I can.
Unfortunately, it's a tough matchup for these guys, but I really don't give a shit. I really don't, because I think the game script that I have in my head is Aaron Rodgers comes out and absolutely slings the ball around to Devontae, to MVS, to Lazard, whoever the fuck he wants, Tanyan, and absolutely crushes this team in the first half. And then we start to see some more the running game sprinkled in. So it is going to be tough with the matchup, but I absolutely do not mind putting Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. Even if I wanted to get crazy and go Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon, I probably won't do that. But my point is getting these running backs involved, because I think that they're going to be leading in this game, in a cold weather game, in a playoff game. You got to run that clock down. They're going to do whatever it takes to work the clock if they're up by 2 touchdowns. All right, so let's move to the other side here for the Rams. We got Cam Akers. He's coming in at 10K. Now, I toyed around with do I want to fade Cam Akers? Because I just don't like that pricing. We're going to have to make a decision. We can't just stack in all these the Green Bay players. We can't stack in all these top-end guys and then expect to comfortably fit in Cam Akers. It's going to be a little bit difficult at that price tag. You're going to have to choose between Goff and Cam Akers. So that's going to be a tough decision. And when we get to the Bills, we'll actually talk about that. We'll work it out and see what we can do. But with Cam Akers at 10K, if they're losing this game in the second half, I know he can get some dump-offs, but I think Malcolm Brown benefits more at 2,800 for those pass opportunities. So how are you handling Cam Akers? Are you higher on him than I am? Because I just don't know if he might get worked out of this just from a game script side of things.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what to do, right? If he's going to be the highest scoring player on the Rams, then I think you have to have some exposure to him, unless you can figure out a way to get all those points. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be tough without Cam Akers. I mean, last week he had 23 fantasy points, 28 carries, 131 yards, touchdown. I mean, his 2 targets and 45 yards, right? So, I mean, that's 6.5 points right there. So I think if he doesn't get involved in the passing game, that might be his script to not being in the optimal. But if we can afford him, I think we're just going to have to do it. And then maybe that's the way you get difference. 2 running backs, then adding a third from the other side. But, other than that, because I'm not taking Jared Goff. So it's either I do Cam Akers and Cooper Kupp or just Cooper Kupp. You know what I mean? So we'll see when we get to the builds if we can actually pay for him with some of the value that we found. But I don't know, man. I don't know if you can truly fade Cam Akers.
Totally. I agree. I agree.
What are your thoughts on Malcolm Brown, dude? I mean, 2,800, it just seems a little high for me.
I always like Malcolm Brown as a pure punt, especially with a game like this, where Goff I just don't think he's going to be able to sling the ball down the field. If they're losing by 2 touchdowns in the second half, expect a lot of Malcolm Brown, expect a lot of Gerald Everett, expect a lot of Tyler Higbee, some slants across the middle sort of a thing. Malcolm Brown at coming in around 10% owned and at 2,800, I'm going to like mixing in a lot of these cheaper running backs in this game. I'd rather get to Malcolm Brown as a punt play. He doesn't have very high upside. We know that. I mean, we know that. If we just look at his past output over, it's been since week 10 since he's done anything. That was 19 fantasy points. Besides that, his max output has been 4 fantasy points, 4.5. So yes, his upside is low, and a lot of that was with Darrell Henderson starting. Cam Akers was the third option in this offense. Now it's shifted. Cam Akers is the guy. He can do some of those things that Malcolm Brown did in the pass game, in the blocking game, everything. So I like Malcolm Brown strictly as a punt play. 10% owned. Give me 15, 20% at most as a straight up punt play. If you're doing the biggest contest, he's an option for that to get different. Stack, put Aaron Rodgers in the captain, put a guy like Malcolm Brown on the flex, and that's how you get different, in my opinion. Thoughts? Do you like Malcolm Brown? Because I know it's tough. But somebody's got to score something. Somebody's got to score 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, man, he's a little expensive for me. I kind of want to just see how the building works out, to be honest with you. But let's put it this way: I won't take him out of my player pool. I know his upside, and I know his ownership's going to be 5 to 10%. So, if I 20 max, I'm not doing anything down by putting him in 2 lineups. So that's probably where I'm at. Yeah,
fair enough. I totally agree. Robert Woods. Let's move over to the wide receivers for the Rams. So Robert Woods, he's at an 8,600. Great option. He's actually projected slightly lower, like a half fantasy point lower than Cooper Kupp, who's at 8K. Cooper Kupp's questionable. Then you have Josh Reynolds, who's at 1,800. Now, this is where things become very interesting. If Cooper Kupp is out, this changes everything for me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not high on Kupp to begin with. And my options here are I'm going to fade one or the other. I'm not going to put both of them in the same lineup because I just don't think there's going to be enough offensive output in this game for the Rams. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they step up. Maybe they absolutely crush it in this game. I just don't. That's the way I'm building. So if you think differently, build differently. But I'm going to have a max of one of Woods or Kupp. But if Kupp is out, Woods gets a big boost, and Josh Reynolds gets a big boost at 1,800. Even fucking Van Jefferson Chevrolet at $800 gets a huge boost as well. So, what are your thoughts on if Kupp is in, and what are your thoughts on it if Kupp is out?
Kupp's my guy if he's in. Just that price tag's ridiculous. Robert Woods. I mean, honestly, it's equal exposure. You can do whatever the fuck you want there. I'm not going to play both of them. Josh Reynolds, I think, is a great play either way. 1,800 is. Have we seen a guy more price volatile than him?
No.
He was 7,600 last week. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, he's gotten up to in the 7s. He's consistently in the 6s. At one point in the season, he was at 2,600. This is the lowest he's been all year. And I think it's more of a byproduct of the fact that the offensive output here is everybody gets down in price. But at 1,800, we know he can score touchdowns. We've seen it many times. We know he can get 10 targets.
Especially go get me 3 catches and 60 yards.
Yeah, and a touchdown. 3 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He's in the optimal at 1,800. So it all depends on the news. But even if Kupp is in, I actually like Reynolds more because Reynolds still has the upside. We know that
nobody's going to want to play him,
and his ownership will probably be cut in half. Any interest in Van Jefferson and before you answer this, just know that whatever you say. If you say no, he's going to get 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I am neutral on Van Jefferson.
Okay,
I think he can be in your lineup or he could not be in your lineup. But $800 if Kupp's out, he gets a huge boost. If otherwise, I don't really need too much exposure to him. I don't think I'll have much at all. But again, we're talking about Jared Goff. I don't know if he can throw. And Van Jefferson's a guy who needs speed. He's kind of one of those big play guys. So I don't know if Jared Goff has that ability right now.
So let's go to Green Bay. Devontae Adams is at 11.6K.
Play him. All right, you want to go to tight end?
Yeah, just play him. Yep, and we're moving on. That's the end of the show, guys. Put all your guys in your fucking lineup and call it a day. 11.6K. Look, the question is not whether to play him or not. It's, do you put him in captain in fucking 80% of your lineups? Because he has such a high upside. I don't care if Deion Sanders and Jalen Ramsey is out there guarding this dude. I don't care who it is. He is matchup proof. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL. We're talking about fucking playoffs here. It's a cold game. I think they're going to use his physicality. Just play him. He's potentially 50% owned. I'm guessing he's probably going to be 20% in the captain if I had to guess. I just play him. That's the bottom line. All right. Now let's move on to the underlings here. This is where things get interesting because we know that Allen Lazard has upside. He's at 5,200. He's projected for basically double the amount of points as MVS at 5,400. We know MVS can go off too, but also we know that since Lazard's come back, he's taken over that number 2 role. Lazard and Adams are kind of similar in their play style. They're big dudes, possession receivers, throw the ball up, they'll catch it. MVS is that home run threat. So I like to think that maybe, Lazard and Adams are, would you think they're kind of negatively correlated, or am I just overthinking this based on their body type?
I don't think it matters, dude. I think those are Aaron Rodgers. God damn it, Aaron Rodgers' top 2 targets. Dick. And so the ball's going to go there. They might be negatively correlated. I think that matters more for me in Slate. But in a game like this, it could easily just be all the volume to both these guys. I think this is a game that you just try and get as much offense as you can from Green Bay, and not necessarily worry about correlation.
Yeah. I mean, MVS has the home run upside, but he's not grading out very well. He's projected lower. He's actually $200 more expensive than Lazard. I think he's a dart throw option, and I would actually rather fade MVS in the flex completely and then get like a few lineups with him at captain, because we know that MVS has the upside, but it's boom or bust with him. So I'd rather get like 3 or 4 lineups with him at captain, just trying to embrace that possible ceiling game, and then ignore him in the flex, go with more Lazard or Tunyon, or even fucking Equiminius St. Brown at 1,000. I know that's a straight up dart throw, but you got to consider every one of these guys. Tavon Austin at $200. You just got to think about every one of these guys and maybe sprinkle them in. Maybe set a rule where you want to try to get one of all of these like lower owned, like Josh Reynolds, all these guys kind of forced in, because we just know that Aaron Rodgers doesn't give a shit who he's throwing to. Fucking Jake Kumaro, fucking who else? Who else have we seen this guy at? Some of these receivers for Aaron Rodgers have ceiling games out of nowhere, and we never hear from them again.
How did we not get that video of who the fuck is Allen Lazard? Or who is that kid? Was it Allen Lazard that caught that touchdown in the playoffs? Or was it Jake Kumaro? Remember against the Cardinals, Carson?
Yeah, Palmer? It was Kumaro, and it was no, it wasn't Kumaro. It was God.
I'm gonna look that shit up. Because remember, there's that video of the kid. Who the fuck is?
Yes, I know who you're talking about, and it's gonna kill me when you bring up the name here. I think he's out of the league by this point. So, look, I think you got to consider everybody. Devontae Adams, put him in your lineup. Sprinkle in MVS. Go heavier towards Lazard, in my opinion. But besides that, maybe a dart throw with Equiminius St. Brown. We've seen him actually score a touchdown.
Jeff Janis. Who the fuck is Jeff Janis?
That's his name. Yes. That's what I'm talking about, though. Like, this is the fucking playoffs.
Playoff.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to discriminate. He's going to throw to whoever the fuck is open, and he's going to make them look like a star. So, guy like Tavon Austin, guy like St. Brown, Tunyon, Mercedes Lewis. So let's actually get over there. Let's get over to the tight ends. We all love Robert Tunyon. I think he put out a statement saying it's like onion.
Yeah, it's Tunyon.
Sorry, Tunyon. We all love this guy. He should have made the Pro Bowl. Evan Ingram made the Pro Bowl for some reason. He made the Pro Bowl for sucking. I don't understand this. Tunyon is the man. The dude's a touchdown machine. He has 3 touchdown upside in these particular games. 6,400. We've seen him go off. He's projected for like 20% ownership. Now, I personally don't think you need to fit him into the captain. That's just me. I probably won't. But I think in the flex, if you focus on him in the flex, you're really you have that touchdown upside. I know you like him for the captain more. So talk to me about Tunyon. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think he's a fine play. I think he has the opportunity to get a couple touchdowns. One thing that you can get against a really good pass defense is, these big tight ends kind of getting mismatched with linebackers up the seam. So I think that kind of gives him a little bit of an edge. And at his price, 6,400, I just don't think is a terrible play. But again, I think that's deeper GPPs if you're really kind of looking at him at anything other than flex. But I think he's a fine play. I think he has a decent amount of upside, and he'll probably only be 20-25% owned. So it's not like you got to get too crazy playing him.
Yeah. And
real quick, bro, have you looked at our cash lineup in that 5-man?
No.
Yeah, bro, we're actually we're just destroying these guys.
250 points. Oh yeah, we're up by 50 points. Exactly. All right, we're good. So look, Tunyon. He at one point had 5 straight games with a touchdown, and we're talking like a ceiling of 5 targets, and still gets those touchdown opportunities. You can pretty much, if I'm playing cash for Showdown, which I don't always love to do because of the variance of these single games here, Tunyon is a great option for cash and tournaments, in my opinion. He's going to get the targets, a few targets, but they're mostly high opportunity targets, like in the red zone. And he's got 2, 4, 5, 6. He had 6 touchdowns out of his last 7 games. We know that Aaron Rodgers loves this dude. So Mercedes Lewis, $400, another one of these dart throw guys that we know can score a random touchdown. But he's the kind of guy that'll get you 5 to 7 fantasy points at most, probably. Any interest in Mercedes Lewis, old ass dude?
So before I just go off on a tangent here, I'm just going to make it real simple. When I take a hard stand, it apparently comes to this game. So far, we have Mercedes Lewis, we have Equanimeous St. Brown, and then we have Van Jefferson Jr., all of which I've said that I want 0 of and have scored touchdowns that next night. So I am open to playing Mercedes Lewis. Now, to be fair, none of them are in the optimals. Okay, it's still hard. But look, I definitely think they're in play. I just don't know if I'm getting to them.
I just think a guy like Mercedes Lewis does not have a high enough ceiling in a game that if it hits the over, even if it hits its total, like at 45 points, you're going to need more than 7 fantasy points to end up in the optimal. So I don't think I just don't like Mercedes Lewis, even as a random punt in 20 lineups. So let's move over to the tight ends for the Rams. We got Tyler Higbee at 4,200, not projecting out well, but we've got our boy Gerald Everett, who absolutely sucked fucking ass last week. Maybe it wasn't his fault. We got a weird ass quarterback situation with the Rams, but Gerald Everett was priced at, what was he priced at? Can you see? Because Fantasy Crunchers does not have the playoffs. They don't have playoff outcomes. So
I can't see what he was at either. All I have is the actual stats.
I feel like he was 22, 20. He was in the 2000s, and we were heavy on him for that game. We were touting him like crazy. I had him in 80% of my lineups or something, 70%. So I didn't do well. But I thought that price tag, he had the opportunity, and if Wolford continued to stay in, maybe it would have been different. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's over. But at this point, I still like him, and he's way cheaper. He's 1,400. So I'm still going to be heavy on him. Maybe I'm doubling down and I'm going to hurt myself. I'm not going to, put him in plus 50% of my lineups. All I got to do is put him in 30%, and I've tripled the field. But I like Gerald Everett the most here at 1,400. Tyler Higbee, we all know he can score. We've seen him score 2 or 3 touchdowns in a game. I just don't know if it's going to happen in this game. He's ultimate tournament play. So what are your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how interested I am in any of these tight ends. I just don't think Jared Goff can get them the ball. If I'm playing anybody, it's most likely going to be Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods. And Cam Akers, I really don't have much interest in this side of the ball. Gerald Everett's fine at 1,400, and Tyler Higbee is fine at 4,200. I would probably play. Actually, I don't even know if I would play them over the kickers though today. So look, I'm not high on these tight ends at all.
So speaking of that, when it comes to kickers, if you watch our show before, we're usually not high on the kickers. Specifically me, but I think you got to consider both kickers here. More specifically, the Rams. And look, even Green Bay, Mason Crosby's at 3,800, Matt Gay's at 3,600. I think you have to consider both strictly because the Rams have a good defense. They can shut down this team in the red zone a few times, and the Rams offense just may not be able to get there. If they're projected for under 20 points scored in this game, you got to think that Matt Gay is going to be involved in a few middle to long range field goals. Now, one thing we always talk about nowadays, especially in the playoffs, is these coaches, they rely on numbers. If it's 4th and 1 from the 35-yard line, they're going for it. So there's going to be potentially less opportunity for some of these kickers, especially now in the playoffs. I think these coaches don't give a flying fuck. They're going to just go for it when they want to. So what are your thoughts on that? Did you factor any of that into this? Are you trying to get the kickers in? Because we all know that the optimizers are going to force the kickers in. So you have to kind of say, yo, back up a little bit. Chill out on the fucking kicker exposure.
Yeah, I'm fine getting to the kickers today. I'm just not sure I'm going to get much to Matt Gay, honestly. I prefer Mason Crosby just because from an offensive perspective, I just don't know how long that they're going to be able to get by kick field goals. You go up 2 touchdowns with a bum-ass quarterback who can't throw. I mean, and he has a hurt hand. By the way, that was Jared Goff sucks joke. But anyways, look, I don't think you can get to Matt Gay. They're going to have to play catch-up ball at some point. If you think he can get you enough points in the first half, then go for it. If you think they can keep this game somewhat close, then go for it. And to be fair, I don't think that's necessarily out of the realm of possibility. This is an incredible defense. But I also think the Packers have a great offensive line and, one of the top 5 quarterbacks to ever do it. So I'm not projecting this to be a good opportunity for him. I like Mason Crosby, and this is honestly the longest I've spent talking about kickers. So I will stop now.
So Packers defense, 4,600 for some fucking reason. I mean, well, we know why. The quarterback's injured. The offense hasn't been doing well, but they're priced above the Rams at 4,400. The Rams are not projecting well when it comes to defense, probably because you're going against one of the greatest ever at quarterback in a playoff game at home, and they just don't lose. So what are your thoughts on defenses here? It's a little bit lower of a total. It's a cold-ass game. You're going to have to get a score out of the defense for it to end up in the optimal. Even if this is a fucking 21-14 game, you're going to need sacks. You're going to need interceptions, touchdowns, safeties, whatever it is in order for these guys to end up in the optimal, especially at that price tag, 4,600. So Rams have to be a priority here, right? Or are you excited about Green Bay because Jared Goff just sucks dick?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested in Green Bay here. I definitely think it's in the realm of possibility that they end up with a defensive score or two. Jared Goff being under pressure is not usually turned out well for the Rams, and that's not. I don't mean like rush pressure or like from the defense. I mean just in games that are high pressure situations.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think that that's something that's going to change. So. I definitely think there's an opportunity in which this defense forces some turnovers and turns it into points. I mean, look, how are you supposed to hold on to the ball if you get sacked, if your thumb's broken?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of opportunities for this to turn into a very, very shitty performance from the Rams offense in the cold where your joints fucking hurt if you've been injured. So who knows if his finger is going to even work. So I don't know, man. Like I definitely think the Packers are in play on defense. Rams, sure. The Rams defense is great, but Aaron Rodgers is one of the best to ever do it, man. He gets rid of the ball so quickly. He knows how to not take sacks. I think that this team is going to do everything that they can to not let Aaron Donald beat them. That's going to be their game strategy on offense. So that involves getting Aaron Jones involved, and that involves really quick passes. So I don't think the Rams defense is going to have it tomorrow.
So the one interesting thing we forgot to mention is left tackle David Bakhtiari. Am I saying that right? I'm fucking terrible.
Bakhtiari? No, that's fine. You got that one.
The dude's out. Tore his ACL. He's a left tackle. So that's one thing to bring up here is we just don't know how that position is going to work out. And if you're talking about a pretty dynamic defense and a pass rush, they're going to have to figure out ways to make up for, a really good, one of the top offensive linemen, one of the top tackles in the league. So something to just bring up. And when it comes to, the Packers pass rush, they're pretty dynamic there. I know they don't typically grade out as a great defense, but I think they can cause some turnovers. So let's move on to our fades here. All right. So fade of the night.
What's your name? Tony! Fuck you, Tony!
Ellie, who we telling to fuck off here?
Yeah, MVS. I know I said earlier in the show I want to get as much offense that I can from the Green Bay side of the ball. I just don't know if MVS is going to get those targets tonight. With the weather, with the way Davante Adams is performing, with this being a playoff game, I think this is going to be a little bit more of a balanced approach offensively, and I just don't think MVS gets there. I think Robert Tonyan has a better chance of splitting the seam, if you will, and getting those additional points up the middle than MVS does. This Rams defense is really good, and their defensive line has a tendency to get to quarterbacks on extended routes from wide receivers. Davante Adams can catch the ball anytime, anywhere. MVS is needed for a 3-5 step drop, and that's usually a bad situation when you have Aaron Donald coming up the middle. So that's kind of one of the things that's impacting me. Yeah. What about you, bro?
It's a good point. I mean, for me, simply based on pricing and the fact that I want to get a bunch of expensive Green Bay players in, I just can't afford to get Woods and Kupp in the same lineup. So I'm going to need to make a decision based off of his injury status. Keep an eye on that. It's going to be the biggest news of this game is whether or not Kupp is actually active. I think he probably will be. This is a playoff game. They're going to do whatever they can. They're going to put whatever kind of drugs in him that they possibly can. And even if he's not 100%, even if he's not even 70%, he's going to play. It's just going to happen. So for me, I'm going to have to make a decision. I'm leaning more towards Woods, but I can get Woods and Reynolds. I can get Woods and Everett. I can make things interesting with a lower price guy on the Rams and not have to pay up over $16,000 for both of these guys total. I just got to make a decision between both of them. I know that it's scary and it could hurt me. I know that Kupp can get 10 receptions for fucking 78 yards and a touchdown, and he could be in the optimal. Woods can also do the same. So it is scary for sure. So let's move on to our captain choice here, Denny Green.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
So we're crowning their ass with our favorite captain here on DraftKings, Ellie Tonyan. He's a deep GPP option, but we've seen his upside. We know he can score a touchdown pretty much every single time. And he has that 3 touchdown upside, which can break the slate at 3% ownership.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty nicely there, man. I went on my little tangent on tight end. I just think he's a decent deep GPP play. He has the absolutely the ability to go out there and get 2 touchdowns and 80 to 100 yards. So I think he's solid in a 150 max, 20 max type situation.
It's interesting, like a guy that you feel comfortable in cash and has like super high upside in tournaments. So that makes it a really interesting play just across the board. For me, there's really nothing to talk about here. Davante Adams, you could also say the same about Aaron Jones. I particularly just like Davante Adams in this particular game because of the matchups. We know that Aaron Rodgers is going to be tossing that ball around in the first half, potentially later in the game. Davante Adams is the kind of guy that, can get you 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and then, maybe be a little bit more quiet when the team is up. But I'm very confident in putting him in the captain because there's enough salary savers and enough dudes under 10% that I can get different. And we have to think about this. This is the early game. So the max contest size is like 30,000 that I saw on DraftKings. Like there's not a lot of entries for this particular matchup when it comes to showdown. So you don't have to get too crazy different. Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers, maybe one of the wide receivers from the Rams, that's probably going to be where I'm focusing. But I'm going to have probably Davante Adams in most of my lineups. So one other thing I want to show here is our Captain Crunch segment. So typically we do this at the kind of the beginning to kind of set the stage for the rest of the show. But I like to look at this after we've talked about our captains and really get into. Sorry about that. Let's do this again. Really get into like the numbers of where these guys are actually ending up. So what I did was I crunched out 250 lineups per captain and sorted by ceiling, sorted by max projected points. You got Davante Adams here. He's going to be the highest owned. He's grading out as one of the best when it comes to projected points. He's grading out best when it comes to basically range of outcomes is between 90 to 97 fantasy points with him at the captain. So that's a very safe grouping of lineups. His ceiling is the highest. His floor is relatively high. His dupes are relatively high. But like I said, we're talking about a little bit lower, smaller contest sizes for this first game. So you're talking about maybe a max of 5, 10, 15 dupes. The math on this is all projected ownership. So some lineups that are chalkier end up with like 20, 30 dupes. You just have to just assume that. What jumps out to you here? I mean, Davante, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, all grade out as really good options. Cam Akers seems to be the guy that's kind of not grading out well.
Yeah, or my guy, Robert Tonyan, right? I think that's fine, though. I think running the numbers on the NFL is a little bit more volatile just because you're using short-term projections to kind of identify what you think is going to happen. And at the end of the day, this could be the last time this will be the last time one of these teams is on the field. So I think narrative can definitely get involved here. So although this is where the projection goes, I do think it is important to kind of take into mind what game script you're expecting to happen here. But overall, I mean, I think it just points out that Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are just so clear, but even Aaron Jones, so clear number ones in cash games that I actually might just run a little bit of extra cash tomorrow just because. Yeah,
it's so clear. It's so clear. And look, when we're talking about showdown for NFL, across the board, you're looking for ceiling outcomes.
If that Cooper Kupp ceiling is nice, bro.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's why we do this, because we can see that, hey, he's not grading out well from a median projected aspect, but his ceiling at captain, along with the rest of the guys in the flex, his max is actually one of the best on the slate, especially coming in at 12K at captain. So this is why we do this, because some of these green colors popping out in the middle of the screen can really help us to kind of sway our opinion. But you're right. We're looking for ceiling outputs, and this is based on median projections here. So this can be a cash. This can be kind of getting where the field's going to be as well. All right, let's move on to a lineup build, dude. You wanna jump to your screen?
Yeah, sorry, they fucking stole a goddamn rebound from Willie Cauley-Stein and took away his double-double, but it looks like they gave it back to him.
Can you get there?
No, he's got his double-double now.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. I see a fire. Oh, nice, with 7 seconds left. Love it. All right, let's switch over to your screen. So let's build with Davante at captain, and then let's optimize. And let's see.
Right? You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So let's see what happens when we optimize, and then let's pivot off of that optimization.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
so we'll leave it up for a second just so we can look what we're building with here.
So this will be a popular build. This will be a popular build. People will just grind this out. They'll enter it into 50-50s, into double ups, head-to-heads. So just know that.
I don't want any of that, man.
I don't want any of that. Exactly.
So let's do that.
Yes.
You wanna try? God damn it!
Whoa.
Technical difficulties.
Son of a bitch.
Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan.
I actually kind of want to see what happens if we. Oh no! So it looks like we're not getting Cam Akers and Aaron Jones. So this is still a pretty tight salary build. So we're gonna have to go down a little bit. Who do we like for value?
We like a Reynolds. We like.
What about Jamal Williams build?
We like AJ Dillon as a you need AJ Dillon. You need like a guy like AJ Dillon in a lineup with Devontae Adams and captain because you got to get different and you got to spend down.
Yeah, let's go with AJ Dillon then.
But we can also do a Jamal Williams one too, because I think he's the safer bet.
Well, 5,200. Let's see what the builds give us. So I think we need to stay low. I like Mason Crosby, and that gives us our 4 for or 5. Holy shit.
5-1. Well, you know,
a 6-0.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do we got? I mean, we don't even have a Ram we can play.
Just get rid of Crosby there.
So what? I guess Cooper Kupp. What does that give us? 2,400.
You can go to Gerald Everett probably, or Reynolds.
Yeah, I prefer Reynolds.
I think Reynolds is going to be a better option for you. Yeah, exactly. Scroll up a little bit so we can see the total. Look, I mean, this is a nice GPP pivot with Adams, the chalkiest captain. I think let's get rid of Dillon, let's get rid of Reynolds and Kupp, and let's sort of start over here. Let's do a little bit safer of a tournament build, one that we're not entering, as a lottery ticket. Let's do Robert Woods, Goff, Reynolds, Williams. Yeah, see, pretty close.
Well, who did we lose? We lost Rodgers by doing that.
Yeah, fuck that, dude. Put Rodgers back in. Lock that motherfucker in. Don't ever unlock him.
I can't have Devontae Adams twice. Bullshit, man. $0.
So kill Woods. Actually, lock in Woods because I want to actually build with Woods as our guy. Let's do a 4-2 here. No.
This is rough, man.
Yeah, this is tough with Adams. This is going to be tough. They do that on purpose for us. So AJ Dillon, that's a nice start throw. He might not even get a carry in this game. He might not see the fucking field. That's why it's scary.
What do we have for 1,800 though?
Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds. See, this I'm kind of okay with, right?
Yeah.
This is a decent onslaught. You got Aaron Jones, you got AJ Dillon, who's the punt, Devontae Adams at captain, Aaron Rodgers, and this is risky, but if you got 2 wide receivers, if they have to play catch up, excuse me.
But we see with Devontae, it's tough. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to be comfortable with any of these builds. You're just not. Now let's do this. Let's fade Aaron Jones in this lineup. This is going to make things a lot easier, right? So get rid of everybody except for Rodgers. Let's put in Jamal Williams. Right? It's safe to say that most likely if Aaron Jones isn't hitting, maybe Jamal Williams will get a couple extra carries. Let's go Goff. Let's just see kind of what we can do here. If we could fit Goff and Woods. 1,000. Do we have anybody at 1,000? Van Jefferson? Equimania St. Brown? Yeah, so you're gonna have to punt at at 2 positions. Medium confidence to lower confidence with Jamal Williams, and then no confidence in St. Brown.
What if we go Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff, and we go Cam Akers? We gotta try to get Cam Akers.
This
is dumb, but it's doable.
Williams and Dillon, yeah. All right, so you see what we're dealing with here. This is with Devontae at captain. Not only do you have to try to be different, but you have to actually fit salary in. So let's go with Aaron Jones at captain.
Yeah, I want to see what he looks like. Gerald Everett, Josh Reynolds, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Rodgers. So It looks like they're just going to keep doing this shit.
They're going to see Gerald Everett grades out well again. That scares me.
So
I think his ownership might be a little bit higher than we think it's going to be. But he'll still be low owned.
Who do we like? We got 3,800 remaining.
per. Can we do Cam Akers?
Yeah, let's throw him.
Gotta fit Cam Akers in. Or maybe this just sways us away from one of these chalky captains because we want to get Cam Akers, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams.
Well, what if we fade Devontae Adams in this lineup, right?
We could. It's scary, but we could.
Or not Devontae Adams, but Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got Aaron Jones a captain, Devontae Adams. I mean, there's a good chance Aaron Rodgers has. I don't know, man. It's so fucking hard.
This is gonna be tough.
Yeah. So, but if you do that, then I think you have to play Goff. Can you? It's expensive.
If you're going like biggest tournament, but I just don't think you need to. Look, if this game turns out, I don't know, dude. This is tough.
I don't like the builds that it's giving us, though.
I don't either.
Let's see. Do we get a little bit better fading Aaron Rodgers or Aaron? God damn it.
Yeah, okay, so with Aaron Jones a captain, I'm okay with fading Devontae Adams. All right.
So let's throw Aaron Rodgers.
Not okay with fading Aaron Rodgers ever. So let's do a 3-3 here. Let's see if we can do a 3-3. Love it. Love Lazard or even Tunyon, whatever you prefer. Yeah, not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
It's fucking crazy. See, this is why I'm like Cam Akers. I can't play Cam Akers that much. He's going to be so underowned. Lock that in and optimize. See what happens. Well, get rid of Crosby. Optimize that. Reynolds, Goff, Everett.
I just don't like Goff, man.
It's a 2-4. I don't want that.
Yeah, 2-4 the wrong way.
I mean, look, we saw the Steelers last week. We saw the Steelers getting their ass kicked and garbage time. This is why we always talk about garbage time because you gotta think about it. Ben Roethlisberger was the optimal captain. And he was getting his ass kicked the whole game. I'm not saying that Jared Goff's going to do the same, but I'm saying that Reynolds, Everett, these guys can get garbage time receptions and really kind of screw everyone over. So a 2-4 setup where you think that Green Bay is going to crush is okay. You don't necessarily need 4 dudes from Green Bay for them to crush as long as all that volume goes to 1 or 2 guys. Let's do a Tunyon lineup here.
Tunyon?
Yeah. Let's just see what these lower cost guys at captain can get us.
So this is the optimal. But see, we don't need that. We don't need that. I mean, let's leave it this way if we're going to do this.
Let's do Aaron Jones.
Yeah, of course. Aaron Jones.
Cam Akers.
We can't afford
him.
No.
So what do we got to do? Do we have to go down to fucking Jamal Williams, a captain? We've done it before. We've won a lot of money doing that. But can it happen again? I don't think so.
I don't want Josh Reynolds. I mean, fuck it. I guess what? Punt again and see what happens. 6,600. We still don't have anything to do.
This is going to be one of those slates where you either, do 150 lineups or you do 1.
Yeah, I mean, look, but this is nice though. I mean, this means you have to fade, or probably have to fade, or you have to fade one of the expensive guys. So
maybe what we want to do is just we want to have a core of guys we like, and then rotate out $1,000 dudes or less, and just hope that one of them goes off.
Projected lineup we built.
Jamal Williams, Lazard, Woods, Goff, Rodgers. Dude, am I gonna lose a bunch of money with Jamal Williams at captain? I think I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think I will too. I mean,
dang it.
What are we supposed to do, dude?
Bitch.
I mean, honestly, this isn't a terrible cash build either.
Yeah.
Just because the floor is probably pretty consistent, but what can we do differently here? I mean, we got 9,800. I don't want Jared Goff. We got Robert Woods. Let's do this.
You got to get Cam Akers though. You got to get Cam Akers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to get him in.
5K.
That would have been nice.
Actually,
Packers defense, yeah, dude. So you see what we're dealing with here, guys. It's going to be interesting. Do you want to do any more? You want to do any more builds here?
Let me do one more, see if we can get Aaron Jones in, and then 3,200.
Yeah, we can get a $3,200 guy in. Malcolm Brown. Hey,
Just continue to punt. Fuck it. I mean, you know what I mean?
yeah, I prefer Reynolds Everett over Malcolm Brown.
Oh, I can't put Jamal Williams back in. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I think I might just take a couple darts tomorrow night.
So look, if you had to, like, everyone's going to be dealing with the same thing. If they're hand building on their phone, if they're hand building on an optimizer, if they're crunching out a couple hundred lineups, do you have any groups that we can give the audience? How are we going to be able to build comfortably with this particular game and the pricing? Are we making any rules?
I don't know if you can build comfortably, man. I think the rules are if you like a lineup, you add it. Don't delete entries, don't erase entries. Just fucking throw them in there as many as you're comfortable doing. And you know, if you think you have a stand to take the stand and build around it.
I would say, to add on to that, I would say that don't go too heavy on one guy. I mean, yeah, it'll pay off big if he goes off. Like when I'm talking about one guy, I mean like value plays. Like I'm not doing 80% Josh Reynolds. I'm doing 15%. I'm doing 15% AJ Dillon. I'm doing 10% Everett. I'm spreading it out. I'm going to try to do a core of X amount of guys. I'm going to make rules that say I want these guys at least out of 4 or 5. Yeah, we are. Out of 4 or 5 positions, I want to have max out 4 of these guys. And then I want to rotate in another group of like $1,000 guys or less. Or you know what I mean? That's what I'm going to have to do. I usually don't make a lot of groups when it comes to Showdown. I do some correlation thing. Like if this guy's in captain, give a boost or give him a minus on projection. But in this particular game, I think that you can really go heavy with your groups. And we learned this with NBA, man. Like I think NBA, I know it's a whole different game. But if you're comfortable with a core of like 3 or 4 players, just try to lock in, like have a group of 5 and force in 4 of those players. And then that'll rotate them out, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just the way this game is going to have to go. I think we all agree that the Rams just aren't going to be able to get there offensively. So 4-2 stacks, maybe 3-3. And if you want to get really crazy, like a 2-4, Green Bay and the captain run back with 4 pass catchers or 4 garbage time guys. What are your thoughts on that? Any other advice to give when it comes to that kind of stuff?
I don't know if I want to get into that. I just don't think this is a game for that. The Rams had a pretty emotional victory last week. This is definitely a time where you could just see them come out entirely flat, man. Once they realize that Jared Goff isn't able to keep them in the game, that can be a pretty demoralizing blow. So I really just not expecting too much from them, which means they're going to have a 35-point output and 28 points from their defense.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is obviously we're pre-recorded here. We're going to go live back on Sunday, most likely. So keep an eye out for that. Hit us up. We're actually premiering this video. So, hit us up. Hit us up in the chat. We'll be available on Twitter. Join our Discord. We will see you for the late night game. We're doing, is it Buffalo and Baltimore, right?
On Sunday or tomorrow?
No. For Saturday, the later game. That's Buffalo, Baltimore. We're going to do another pre-recorded video for that.
Yeah.
So, hit us up in the Discord. We appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.